Okay, so my fourth try making this video. This is letting everybody know on all the channels. So I'm going to be posting this on the part 1 channel, the part 2, all of that. And I don't even know what I was about to say right there. Probably nothing. But yeah, so I had to do the whole runaway and lay low till 18 thing. For those who don't know. Which, if you're not on the part 5 channel, you're definitely not going to know. If you're on the part 1 to 3, you're not going to know. Or the part 4 too. But the part 1 to 3 channel, those were the ones that were deleted on, what was it? Okay, so basically, for those who don't remember, on 2/17/22, CPS got involved, CPS/defects. That was my first case in GA. Got involved in 2/23/22. They snitched about the fact that I had 1,950 plus abuse evidence videos. By 2/28/22, my older enabler sister, so my mom's boyfriend found out my password and got into my phone. And then my older enabler sister, my mom, and them deleted the videos. They were really trying to delete everything. And then they compromised my main email since 2016, which I still trying to figure out what to do about that. And I want to do something about that, but it's also kind of risky because I don't really trust authorities, because I feel like they're going to tell my relatives where I am, even at 18 plus. Because everybody probably knows how the black boule sellout Freemason police are in GA. I mean, or how those people are in general. The boule, I mean, they claim that they've done things to help our communities, but honestly, going into some white supremacist Greek letter college cults is not helping our community. Honestly, I'd rather for people to just go into voodoo and become hoteps. That would make more sense than becoming Greek letter and then, well, let me not even go into that because I'm about to be way somewhere else. So anyway, those are, but anywho, I mentioned before, I don't even know if this is on the part 5 or the part 6 channel, the things that the police would say to me throughout the different, well, honestly, I only tried to leave twice, regardless of what people will say. But there was this one point where the police are basically making jokes about how they were going to be pulling me out of a ditch. Well, yeah, a ditch or a lake or whatever, and how I was going to get raped and molested and beat up and all of that stuff. And they really wanted to see this not work out for me. They didn't want to see me leave and work out. But to be truthfully honest, the people that they were comparing me to were abused kids who really wanted attention and love and were really desperate and were attracted to older people. Or either were just doing it for the attention, even without the attraction. So they were going and moving in with child molesters because they wanted to be loved. I've never really been that desperate. I mean, I've let me not even go there. But I've never been that desperate. I've never been that type of desperate. I haven't. I had limer sessions and stuff with people my age, and I've been really codependent with people my age, and that was all really, really left because there's this one point where there's a girl, I didn't even really talk to her, to be honest, but she told me I was so desperate. It's funny, but I've never been child molester desperate. I've already had enough sexual issues throughout my life since I was a toddler, and that would have just screwed me up even more. I really didn't want to go into that, but yeah, so anywho, to get back to the point, I don't really want to get involved with the police, which is why I was scared to even let them know that I was okay yesterday on my birthday like I was supposed to, because you're supposed to let them know once you turn 18 that you're okay, but I was scared to even do that because I'm worried about them telling my relatives where I am, or just the fact that they're gonna talk junk to me and curse me out and tell me about how I need to go back to my dysfunctional family system. I don't even know where my relatives live, to be honest. I don't even know where they live. I don't know if they even still live in Georgia. I mean, they didn't even have room for me anyway. And of course, my mom most likely stopped getting the check yesterday. But they may end up giving it to her again because I don't have an account for them to put the money in and I haven't contacted them. But the thing is, I don't want to go down for disability fraud, so I don't want to be getting a check for problems I don't have. I'm not even really sure what the check is for, to be honest. I think it's for a learning disability, but I'm not even sure. I'm really not even sure. Because for those who don't remember, there were 17 plus false diagnoses, so I don't even know what in the world. But I would assume it's for a learning disability. Really not sure, though. But I don't even want to go into the whole getting a check thing because I don't want to fall into a victim complex either. So, yeah, but to get back to the point, I did the whole lay low till 18 thing, which is something that I somewhat mentioned on the Antister channel where I talk about the systems and all the stuff that they do. But the longer you have to wait till 18, the worse it can be. And the thing is, you can't go to a shelter under 18, especially not with a missing persons report, but you really can in general, because they have to either get parents' permission or call CPS and the police within 24 to 48 hours. But of course, when you're in one of the munch house and mental label situations like I'm in, you don't really have any options and nobody's going to want to help because your parents are going to come and try to sabotage you. So, like, if something like, I don't know, Covenant House was to actually accept helping me even with the whole Maddie's Dillard bullcrap and the false mental labels, the thing about that is that if they do accept me and let me in and agree to help me, I'm still going to be labeled off as high risk, depending on what mental label my mom even tells them. Because, of course, they're 17 plus, and she chooses a different one depending on what situation she's trying to create. So she may say autism, she may say schizophrenia, she may say ODD, she may say, she may say, hold up, because I'm messing this up because there's so many. She may say ODD, she may say, did I already say that? I think I already said that. ADHD, OCD, schizoaffective. I might have already said that. What else was she saying? There was this one point where they were trying to say I was a narcissist. Or at least my older enabler sister was. At one point, my older enabler sister was saying I was a psychopath. I mean, at the end of the day, mental illness comes from trauma. And the thing is, people are really ignorant and dumbed down from school and a lot of different things like the news and media, and they don't really research things. And people really don't know that all these systems that I talk about, the Cash for Kids system, the mental health system, that's a part of the Cash for Kids system, the school system, all of that stuff was created for eugenics and abuse, and then even indoctrination. And that's something that I may have mentioned, at least in the description of the Cash for Kids system remake video that I have on the Antister channel. But a lot of people don't know that, and they don't know the mental illness comes from trauma, which ties into a lot of racial stuff with generational trauma and all that. And it's like, if people just knew that, it could explain a lot, especially when it comes to a lot of this racist stuff. But yeah, so people really don't know anything about mental health or mental illness, or even the fact that mental illness is not a physical thing, it's a spiritual thing, because your spirit is your mind, will, and emotions. And trauma actually creates voids in the soul and stuff, and it messes you up. But people don't know any of that because they've been dumbed down with a lot of this stuff that really revolves around white supremacy. And it's indoctrinated into people, and it keeps people from actually knowing how to get better and how to heal from stuff. Because I mean, even with the physical health system, they're not trained to treat anybody or heal anybody. They're trained to to make it to where you can't notice the symptoms and you get more sick still, and they can make more money, because the thing is, if they treat people, they won't make any money. And like my mom's boyfriend always used to throw up in my Munchausen situation, they would do it just to get to me, because they would talk about how they didn't even believe in mental illness. And he would always throw up how they say in all their books that they've never treated anybody and that they don't know what causes mental illness, which actually it's not true that they don't know what causes mental illness, but they pretend that they don't know. At least the people who made it, the people who made the mental health system, they knew what caused it. Maybe these lower people don't know, because just like with the physical health system, when these people go to college for all these years, they're not trained to treat anybody, so they don't even really know what causes some of this stuff. They're taught bull crap. That's why more people these days rather go to people to learn holistic healing and herbalism and stuff. But that's a whole other story. So anyway, the point is that I'm gonna be trying to get myself together, even though things are pretty much falling apart and the U.S. is being destroyed, and all the different stuff that's going on with the what is that called? The stock market, all that stuff. And the U.S. is being slowly destroyed and degraded. And a lot of people don't want to accept that, which I kind of talk about in the video I made on the Antister channel about how everybody in the U.S. has been in denial about pretty much everything that goes on here. But I don't even want to go into that. I'm still going to try to get things together, though, so I can have a healthy life. And yeah, I know I always mention how I wanted to go to therapy once I turned 18. And honestly, I still do. But it really does scare me, though, just the thought of how left it could go. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, although my trauma revolves around a lot of different things, one of the most traumatizing things that happened was the Munchausen situation. Also, just the fact that I still have to worry about my younger siblings and my nephew, because that still like makes me ruminate and stuff a lot. But anyway, the Munchausen situation was one of the most traumatizing situations for me, really the main traumatizing one, which is why that's like honestly one of the main things I would talk about. And what was that about? Oh yeah. And so the thing with mental health professionals and really anybody is that they don't want to admit what their field is actually made for and what the people in their field do. And they're going to say that I was just failed by the system and all that bull crap. And I hate when people talk about broken systems and failed systems, because it's not a broken system or a failed system. These systems in the Cash for Kids system are doing exactly what they were made to do, which is further traumatize and exploit and abuse and traffic and drug and label already abused kids, or even kids who don't have parents in general, or people with little dumbed down house Negro moms who basically turn their kids over to the systems that make their sons and daughters statistics. So, yeah. What was I about to say? Okay, wait a minute, hold up. Okay, so I paused it to think about it for a minute. I don't remember what I was about to say. But still, with me saying all that, the point is the Cash for Kids wait a minute. The Cash for Kids system is made to do what it's doing. Although they try to make it seem like there's systems put in place to help people under 18, but really there's no system put in place to help anybody. There isn't. And people always throw up capitalism, but honestly it's more than capitalism, because what I've realized and pieced together throughout the years is that child abuse is an agenda, and it helps create a world of messed up people who will go along with anything and don't think for themselves. Well, child abuse and indoctrination put together. So really at the end of the day, it's not even about money, because the people at the top print money anyway. And I mean, of course, the US dollar doesn't really mean jack anymore. But child abuse really none of the stuff that goes on is really about capitalism at the end of the day. Capitalism, if anything, is the cover up. Really what people should be talking about is communism. But I'll talk about that on the Antista channel more so. Okay, gonna try to wrap this up because I don't want this to be 20 minutes. So, with all that being said, I had to accept the fact that I had to save myself and that nobody's going to save me. People are going to play dumb. They're going to play flying monkey. If you don't know what a flying monkey is, Dr. Ramen has videos about it. Or really, you could watch anybody's video about it. A lot of people do. They're going to play enabler. They're going to play flying monkeys. They're going to play stupid. They're going to play like they're going to help, but they're really not going to help. All that stuff is going to happen. It's just going to make me more traumatized. And of course, when people don't want to look bad, they're going to agree with abusers too. So, like, I don't know. I can't even really think of a good example right now, so I'm just going to keep going. But when I got in the support groups, after someone from the Part 1 channel had told me that there's support groups on Reddit, which of course I got off those a long time ago for multiple reasons, I came to the conclusion that Reddit is definitely an app for white supremacists and child molesters. And it's really toxic with a lot of the agendas that they push, and you can't really, it's really censored, just like really everything is these days. And it's like they can have buck breaking and black breeding groups, but I can't say jack about jack. But I'm not even going to go into that because then I'll be somewhere else. So anyway, I got into the support groups, and I realized even more how common my situation is, which of course I already knew was pretty common because, I mean, when you're in the Cash for Kids system, there's plenty of other people in there with you that are in similar situations where they're being framed as the crazy bad person for their trauma symptoms or even over things that didn't even really happen, and their abusers are just lying. But I realized that the Munchausen part specifically, which all of it is pretty much Munchausen, but if I go into that, I'll be somewhere else. But the Munchausen part, like, I went through where I was getting all these different labels. Like, I got 17 plus labels at 12, for those who don't remember. That was the second time I was doing my mom and all that. And so I realized that was actually really, really common. And it's easy for abusers to do stuff like that because even though the people who work in these systems know that mental illness comes from trauma and that they're exploiting abused kids, a lot of people are really ignorant and dumbed down. So a lot of people in the surrounding areas don't really know about that. And I don't even know what I was about to say. But anywho, one time I specifically remember that someone left a comment under one of my posts. I don't even really remember what it was about, but somebody was like, nobody's gonna effing help you. And it was really rude, but honestly it was really true too at the end of the day. And I remember another person once told me that the only thing I can do in situations like I'm in is back away slowly and quietly. And honestly, it's true. Although I didn't do a good job backing away slowly and quietly. But I backed away. I definitely backed away. Honestly, CPS, they messed that up when they had snitched about the abuse evidence videos, because one of the worst things about that wasn't even them letting my relatives know that I had videos to prove everything that I was saying. It was the fact that the videos let my relatives know that I knew what was going on. That was the worst thing. I think I mentioned that before during the situation. But yeah, so trying to think about what else to say. Basically, when you do the whole lay low till 18 thing, you don't have rights to do anything under 18, so you can't go to a shelter, you can't get food stamps, you can't do any of that. You just have to lay low. So you're going to have to be living in a tent in the woods somewhere, and you're going to have to do busking or panhandling. I wouldn't really advise panhandling because that really makes it look like you're in a bad predicament. You got to stay away from Let Me Help You Lunatics. Let Me Help You Lunatics is what got me turned in when I tried to leave in 2022 at 16. And I was only even out there for 6 days, so my mom lied and said I was gone for 30. Because she was counting me being locked up. And it's like, you're the man. There's so much I can say about that. Anywho, so stay away from wait a minute, because I have mucus buildup. Stay away from Let Me Help You Lunatics. That's what you really got to worry about. Those are people that, well, actually I have a video about it on the Part 5 channel. I put it in the description. I didn't really think I gave a great description, but to make a long story short, They try to force help on you that you don't need or want and that they can't give. They're very unstable, and they will get you and them. They'll put you and them at risk and get you caught. And they'll do a whole bunch of stuff, and you really got to avoid them because these people, when they start bothering you, they really won't leave you alone. I felt like I would have to skip town just to get away from some of the let me help you lunatics I ran into. And they're usually females. But I think that's pretty much it. Oh, yeah, and also, I'm going to put the video in the description from the Part 5 channel where I talk about how I'm removing the videos, which I've already removed a lot. I'm completely done with the Part 4 channel. I'm almost done removing them all off the Part 5 channel. The last one is a Part 6. That one only has like 126 because things were more chaotic when my mom's boyfriend was around. For the Part 6 channel, my mom's boyfriend wasn't around for like 6 months. It felt like he was only gone for like 1 to 3 months, but he was gone for like 6 months, and then eventually I left. I left after he came back, though. That's where I had the videos about. Well, no, I don't even know if that's on there, if that's on the Part 5 channel, but one of them has the videos where I was trying to get the GED, which I had been trying to get that since 2021. For those who don't remember, that was a stupid little situation. Running around like a chicken with my head cut off trying to get the $145 to even pay for the test. But yeah, so I'm going to title this, I Made It Till 18, I guess. And this is going to go on all the channels. Probably going to take a while for me to get it uploaded to all of them because I really don't have the energy to even sit. Well, no. The energy or the patience to sit somewhere with Wi-Fi all day to upload them. Plus, I'd probably never be able to upload all of them on all the channels in one day just because of things with internet and my patience. And being in an abuse situation was definitely really, really stressful, and I'm definitely at peace now. It's more peaceful and it's not as stressful. But I mean, being homeless is still pretty depressing. But it's definitely better. It's definitely better. And I'm glad I got out. There were definitely some points where I didn't think I'd make it out. And I thought they really had me locked up somewhere over some lies for the rest of my life or stuck in that conservatorship I would have died in. But, yeah, so thanks for all those who did give advice and who did, what was I about to say? Who did do whatever. Who did whatever, basically. So for those who gave advice, for those who tried to help at some points. And it definitely did help me a lot. Especially with breaking free from the cognitive dissonance and the gaslighting. That was the one thing that I needed to do. And I was really lucky that I started finding out what was going on in 2020 at 14, which was around the time I started the Part 1 channel, when I was staying with my dad, because like I may have said in this video, that's when I fell through the YouTube to TikTok rabbit hole, where I found the term narcissism, and I found out about narcissistic family systems. I found out about DPDR, which is something that I've had since I was like 6, but I never knew the terms for it, obviously. I found out I had hypersexuality disorder at 8 because I started researching my symptoms for that then. But as far as the CPTSD and BPD and all that, I found out about that in like maybe 2020, maybe to 2021. But with the help of my dad's multiple girlfriends, I realized that it was actually really obvious what was going on, but of course nobody wanted to hear from my mom, who created the situation, because she's a female who does the single mom, the victim complex single mom persona, or whatever I would call that. So people would confront my dad about me being on the drugs and the false mental labels, but nobody would ever say anything to my mom's face about it. Like the mental health professionals and the doctors and all of that, they would come to me and tell me about how obvious it was that my mom was lying. Like I remember at one point, before my mom, well, this was way before my mom had removed me from Hugh Spalding, But one time, the doctors came to me and asked me if I wanted them to help me and if I wanted them to try to get me placed somewhere. And it's like, why are you even asking me that stupid question? If I would have said yes, they wouldn't have did it anyway. I don't even remember what I said. I think I said I don't know or something. I don't even know. But there was this one point in time where they tried to talk to me. Wait a minute. They spent more time talking to me about becoming transgender, trying to talk me into it, if anything, which, of course, I'm not about to fall into that. But they spent more time talking to me about that than about my situation. And it was just a whole bunch of mess. All the more reasons why I don't like doctors in general. And I don't trust any of them. I don't even want to get medical insurance because I just want to take my health into my own hands and do natural healing stuff. I don't even really want to go to the doctor ever again. Yeah, luckily, I've been getting my stomach issues together too. So, before I stop this, I'm going to say the last thing that happened when it came down to my stomach issues and all that, which of course there was a lot of stuff where I just wasn't eating enough. A lot of situations where I wasn't eating enough since like really forever, to be honest, but specifically 2020, because it was early 14 when I was let off the drugs and I started losing the metabolic syndrome / diabetic weight. And then since the situation with my dad where I wasn't eating enough, and then I just dropped down to 80 pounds, and then I continued to be 80 pounds till like, I don't know, early 17. The missing persons reports, they have a different weight and height in all of them. I remember the one where I tried to sneak to the job interview, and one of the articles said I was 6 feet and 80 pounds, and then another one said I was 5'6" and 80 pounds, or 96 pounds or something like that. And somebody told me, they were like, if you were 6 feet and 80 pounds, you'd be a stick on the ground. That would honestly be really bad. But I mean, even though it was obvious how physically unhealthy I was, especially in the picture from the articles where I tried to hide out to the day of that job interview, the thing is, people just will assume that I'm starving myself because of the autism and schizophrenia or something, because people really, they're not taught to think for themselves. They're taught to just go along with what the news and media tells them. And if you read something or if you see it in an article, then it's true. But yeah, because I kept trying to figure out why nobody even questioned the weight. But then I thought about it. They probably just assume that I'm underweight because the mental label. But anyway, so, oh yeah, to get to the point. So the doctors just eventually, after, I think it took over a year me being in GA for a doctor to finally ask why in the world I was 80 pounds at 16 or 17 or almost 17 or whatever. But they just kept saying I was malnourished, and they basically they felt like I was just being starved at home. But of course, they didn't do anything about that either. But honestly, what I found out since I've been out here is that I actually was showing textbook ulcer and parasite symptoms. So I've been doing a parasite cleanse, and I'm on my third round of a parasite cleanse called Scram. My last day for this third round is tomorrow. Once I do, I'm listening to something in my background. It's throwing me off. But once I do my fourth round, which I'm only going to do that depending on how my symptoms are, then I'm going to go back into the gut repair. I already have L-glutamine, and I'm going to get some more mastigum capsules. And my symptoms have really died down. Because for those who don't remember, my physical health and my mental health from my trauma symptoms, like the anxiety and the fact that I was always either asleep or crying, really got in the way of what little bit of school I did get to go to at MTZ High. And so basically, I would wait a minute, hold up, I'm messing this up. Eating anything would cause me a lot of pain, so I'd get bloated. I'd have acid reflux. I'd be so bloated that I wouldn't be able to stand up or really walk. And the only thing that would help is laying on my back somewhere, which was hard to do at school. So I'd be trying to find somewhere to just lay down or whatever. So there was a bench outside, and I was able to do that there. because I'd be in so much pain. And I remember I left the classroom and asked to talk to the teacher outside one time when I was in a lot of pain, and I was trying to go to the nurse, and she just asked me if I was having period cramps, and I was like, no, I don't even have period cramps. And she just told me to go sit back down, but I was in a lot of pain, and of course nobody gave a crap, because people don't give a crap. Just like how they would come to me telling me that my mom was telling that I was retarded and asking why my mom was lying to me, but of course they didn't do anything. And MTZ High, they eventually just said they were going to let my mom do whatever she wanted to do with me, because they were tired of her reporting them for not wanting to put me in special ed, because they didn't even have a special ed placement at that school that they could put me in where it would even look right, which is why I ended up getting put in the Jim Crow special ed self-confined placement for quote-unquote bad black kids by my mom, and that was definitely something. The staff members were really toxic, but anyway. So, my symptoms have been getting better since I've been doing the cleanses and stuff, and it still ended up being 31 minutes. But yeah, so I made it till 18. I didn't think I would. A lot of people didn't think I would. I got out. I got out a long time ago, actually. This was a long anticipated wait till 18. It could have been worse, though, because some people have to leave their situations at 12 and 13. And it's really not fair that there is no system put in place to help, because honestly, nobody should have to be homeless waiting until 18 because they don't have rights. And the thing is, you have to, find ways to survive, and you have to try busking or whatever. I wouldn't advise you to panhandle because it's going to make people want to report, but if you're busking, it could look a little better because you're selling your art or you're singing for money or whatever, and it looks a little less bad. But it's really not fair that we can't go to a shelter and we can't go to school, and a lot of people try to prolong running even when they're in a really, really bad situation because they really want to try to finish school or get enough education, quote unquote education anyway. But yeah, so there's that.